Hi everyone, this is Robin Nielsen. It's so great to be here with you today. So I am here on Facebook Live, but it's a little bit different, so I can't see your questions. Maybe there's, let me just see here. Let me see if I can go somewhere else to see your questions. All right, it's so great to be here. So this is our Tuesday tip, and today's topic is sugar and PCOS. And I'm really excited to dig in because it's a huge topic, right? Oh my gosh, it's so huge. So I'm going to see if I can watch myself as we go here. Okay, great. So I can see your comments and questions and all that. So if you've joined in, please say hello. Yay, so great to see you here. All right, so today we're talking about sugar and PCOS, and we're just going to dive right in. If you have any questions around this topic, please be sure to post them. I'd love to hear where you're calling in from, right, or where you're joining in from. Hi, Kim. Oh, I see that I can see you. Excellent. Hi, Haban. Hi, Misty. Great to see you here. Hi, Rebecca. Yay. All right, awesome. So we're gonna really dig into this topic because it's huge, and sugar can absolutely keep our health completely stuck, right? As you probably know, right? I'm not telling you anything you don't know. All right, so as we go along, please definitely post your questions, your comments, what has helped you. Would love to know, and then share this with anyone who you think might be able to benefit. All right, Haban is having a hard time conceiving. Okay, great. Well, getting sugar out of your diet will help a lot, right? So what we're really talking about here are cravings. So we're talking about cravings for sugar specifically because cravings are a quick fix for your brain chemistry, okay? They're a quick fix, and I'm going to show you why. So sugar is the #1 reason that your health may be stuck. As a society, we're really addicted to sugar, and it causes an exaggerated amount of inflammation in your body, and it causes really bad things to happen. And I'll share more on this in just a little bit. So here are 5 clues that you may be addicted to sugar, flour, and processed foods, because they all break down into sugar pretty quickly. So you consume certain foods even if you are not hungry because of cravings. You worry about cutting down on certain foods. You feel sluggish or fatigued from overeating. You have health or social problems that affect school or work because of food issues, but you still keep eating the way you do despite the negative consequences. You need more and more of the food you crave to experience any pleasure or reduce negative emotions. You eat sugary foods past the point you intended. So, I mean, how often have we grabbed something sugary and yummy and well after the satisfaction is gone, we just still keep eating, right? You crave simple carbs like croissants, white bread, pasta, white rice, cookies, candy, etc. You eat sugary foods until you don't feel well. I know, I've been there. So, hi Trish, great to see you here. Excellent. All right. So according to Dr. Mark Hyman, who I just love, in the 1800s, we ate about 10 pounds of sugar per person per year. So 10 pounds per person per year. Now we eat 152 pounds of sugar and 146 pounds of flour per person per year. That's about 1 pound of sugar a day. 1 pound. So you know, right, that sugar isn't good for you. So I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. In fact, consumption of table sugar has gone way down. So we've got that covered, but what we don't have covered is where sugar really hides. And you know, maybe we're not eating table sugar, but we certainly know that we're eating sugar in other places, right? So 80% of the more than 600,000 food products out there, so I said food products, not food, have added sugar. That's because it makes it taste so good, right? If you're, well, it makes it taste so good and it makes the food addictive, so you want to buy more. And if you're still eating prepackaged foods, then you're in trouble, right? So we teach in the 5-element system how important it is to get back to eating whole real foods. So I can give you a couple of examples, really like kind of weird examples. So 1 serving of Prego tomato sauce has more sugar than a serving of Oreo cookies. Crazy, right? Sweetened yogurts can have more sugar than a can of soda. Sugar makes bad products taste good. Sugar comes from juice. So one of the amazing things that I see all the time is, you know, we think that a healthy American breakfast is a cup of orange juice or a glass of orange juice with maybe an egg and some toast, right? So the toast is sugar. The orange juice is a crazy high amount of sugar. So juice of any kind. I remember even when my kids were little, I knew enough not to give them juice. Okay, so juice is just way too much sugar because we've taken all the fiber out, right? So you want to eat whole, real foods. So when you eat sugar, do you crave more sugar? The answer is yes, right? So you want to start thinking, how can I start to reduce sugar in my diet so that I don't keep craving it? So remember, cravings, these sugar cravings are coming from an instant need to fix our brain chemistry, right? Because we're not feeling good, right? Maybe our energy is low. Maybe you're feeling a little bit depressed or anxious. There's something going on with your brain chemistry that's causing this need for a quick fix, and that's where the sugar cravings come in. So tell me a little bit about your sugar cravings. Like, how are they keeping you stuck? What do you crave? Do you notice when you crave them? All right, I'm going to give you a great resource here shortly. All right, so sugar comes from juice, sodas, right? We like all those obvious things, baked goods of all kinds, grain, flours. So anytime you make a grain into a flour, it metabolizes into sugar so fast. Specialty coffees. I mean, when we go to Starbucks or Pete's or wherever it is and we get those fancy coffees, I see so many women, and men too, of course, but I'm very focused on women, you know, buying the specialty coffees with you know, they have a ton of sugar, and then the frappes and the mochas and, you know, the lattes if you get them flavored with vanilla or whatever. And then, of course, the big mounds of whipped cream and drizzled caramel on top. Those frappuccinos, I don't know. Anyway, specialty coffees, candies we know about, and most everything that's prepackaged has sugar in it. I just want to say that if you look at something called the glycemic index, which is sort of how we measure how sugar is metabolized in the body, sugar is not the main sugar quote unquote, that we actually measure foods against for the glycemic index. It's actually white bread. So white bread metabolizes into sugar faster than table sugar, right? So those are the things that you have to really become aware of. So fructose has made things even worse. Have you heard of high fructose corn syrup? Have you heard of fructose? It's a sugar that's found in fruit, but it's also been made into high fructose corn syrup, which is even more powerful. So it makes things super, super sweet. So basically our taste buds are becoming more and more numb to sugar because it's in everything, and the food industry has made things so sweet using the high fructose corn syrup. Fructose is different though. It's a different sugar. It actually gets metabolized in the body differently because it doesn't go through normal digestion. It goes directly to your liver. And in your liver, it does a number of things. Your liver does a number of things with it. But if it's not naturally combined with fiber, like, you know, eating a piece of fruit, right? It's naturally combined with fiber there. If it's just the sugar, so high fructose corn syrup, or they've added fructose to the food, then we actually gain weight, right? We store it as fat pretty quickly. It gets made into triglycerides. So fructose especially is very different, and it gets made into fat a lot more quickly than other types of sugar. what's coming up for you right now as I'm sharing this for you? I'd love for you to post and let me know what's coming up for you. It's just so great to have you here. I really appreciate you showing up. And I just want to share, I share this often, I know, but you know, when you show up, your genes automatically begin to express themselves in a healthier way. So when you take in information that really supports you, you already are tending towards more health, right? So over here is really unhealthy, over here is healthy, right? And so you're just moving along this line here, okay? Which is super healthy. All right. So insulin resistance is really the main driver for PCOS. So there are some other drivers, but insulin resistance, which is where we can't get blood sugar into our cells for fuel because insulin is the key to open up the cell and it's just not working right. Our receptors, our insulin receptors are not listening anymore. And there's, you know, you can read more about insulin resistance, but that's basically you're not getting glucose into your cells to burn for fuel. So as a result, you become insulin resistant. And that is the main driver for causing all the symptoms of hormone imbalance that you might be experiencing. Sometimes the driver is your adrenal glands, but your adrenal glands regulate blood sugar. So over time, it becomes a blood sugar issue. And that causes insulin problems as well. So of course, sugar, right, just makes matters worse. So you know that too. So I'm going to show you how things work. So I'm going to freak you out first because I want to share a little bit about all the bad things that sugar does. Just so that you know like what a huge impact sugar has on your body. Hey, Kimberly, it's great to have you here. Hey, Marlene, so great. Thanks for your question. We'll get to that in a little bit. So I just want to talk about sugar. So sugar can suppress the immune system. It suppresses the immune system big time. Just one glass of orange juice can suppress your immune system by up to 5 hours. 5 hours, that's a really long time not to have a strong, healthy immune system. Sugar upsets the mineral balance in your body. It can cause hyperactivity, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, crankiness in children, brain fog, right? It produces a significant rise in triglycerides, so your fats on your blood work, which is a leading cause of heart disease. It contributes to the reduction in defense against bacterial infections. So again, that's your immune system. It can cause kidney damage. You know, one of the signs of consuming too much sugar is that you have to urinate frequently, right? So that right there tells us that it's hard on our kidneys. It reduces HDL, which stands for high density lipoproteins. That's your good cholesterol. It leads to chromium deficiency, which is an incredibly important nutrient for blood sugar, of all things. It leads to breast cancer, ovarian cancer, intestinal cancer, prostate cancer, and rectum cancer. It's the top cause of type 2 diabetes because it increases levels of glucose and insulin. It causes copper deficiency, which will interfere with thyroid function. It interferes with the absorption of calcium and magnesium, which we talked about before, your minerals. It raises the level of your neurotransmitter called serotonin, which is one of the big reasons why you may have cravings, because you want to raise that brain chemical. It weakens your eyesight. It causes low blood sugar levels, which is funny, right? You eat sugar, and it brings your levels up way too high, but then it drops them way too low. It can produce a very acidic stomach, but it can also produce a very acidic body, right? And a too acid body creates a lot of health problems. It can raise your adrenaline levels, so it can raise your stress levels. It can cause something called functional bowel disease. It, of course, causes aging, more wrinkles, more liver spots, you name it. It increases aging. It leads to alcoholism. It can. It is a top cause of tooth decay. It increases diabetes, arthritis, asthma, candida, which are yeast infections. It can even cause appendicitis, multiple sclerosis, right? MS, which is an autoimmune disease. varicose veins, osteoporosis. I mean, the list is endless, and it can also cause overeating, right? So I'm going to stop right there because it's kind of depressing and the list is super long. But this is a list from Julia Ross, who wrote the book The Mood Cure, The Diet Cure, and now she has another book out, I believe it's called The Cravings Cure. And she has a great questionnaire that you can take a look at and some nice tools. And the book is awesome. So it'd be a great place for you to start. And I'll be interviewing her for our upcoming Natural Solutions for PCOS conference that begins in September. So I'm so excited. All right. So, so thanks, Mimi, for your question. And Marlene, great to see you here. Thanks for your question. And Rebecca, same thing. So I'll definitely get to your questions here shortly. All right, so keep the questions coming in because I'm going to try to get to them. All right, so if I start eating from a box of cookies or even my own homemade cookies, if they have sugar in them, I can't stop. I cannot stop eating the bread, right? If I'm at a restaurant and the waiter brings a basket of bread to the table, I'll eat the whole thing and then I'll want more. That's just how my brain is wired. That's why I never have these things in the house, because we don't want to bring the enemy to the house, right? So it's better, for instance, if you want ice cream, go get a scoop of ice cream in a cup, right? But don't bring the whole half gallon home. Huge tip right there, okay? And women with PCOS, we just have this genetic component, right, of insulin resistance, potentially. And in fact, if you have androgen excess issues, you probably have, the genetic predisposition for insulin resistance and blood sugar issues. So it just is going to be super hard if you bring too much of something home that has sugar in it. It's going to be too hard to resist. So why is it that we can completely consume a bag of potato chips or a box of cookies, the bread basket that comes to your table at a restaurant, or even a box of Frosted Flakes? In Mexico, they call Frosted Flakes sucaritas, which means little sugars, right? How is it that we can eat all these things in one sitting, right, without putting the bag down? It's not because you have no willpower or because you lack self-discipline, except for that you bought them. So there's a discipline issue there. But it's because you're biologically addicted to sugar. And this is from Dr. Hyman. So sugar is a drug, right? It's a drug. And you crave it even though you know it'll make you sick. So why do things that turn into sugar so fast have such power over us? Well, there was a study done, David Ludwig, who was the author of Ending the Food Fight, and his colleagues at Harvard, they did a very sophisticated study. You can read more about it. They showed that foods with more sugar, foods that raise blood sugar even more than table sugar, like white flour, white potatoes, refined starch, have what's called a glycemic index, trigger a special region in the brain that's called the nucleus accumbens. So it's the nucleus accumbens, and it's known to be ground zero for conventional addiction, like with gambling or drug abuse or alcoholism. So it's the nucleus accumbens in our brain that is responsible for addiction. And this study showed that sugar creates a biological addiction in some people. And with PCOS, there can be an insulin resistance genetic component, which may make you want to live on sugar. So foods that spike blood sugar are biologically addictive, okay? And I just think that, women with PCOS like us, we are just so much more susceptible. And according to Dr. Brooke Helenick, whom I just love, and I will be interviewing her as well for the Natural Solutions conference coming up, when you eat fat and sugar, like a bagel and cream cheese or potato chips or ice cream, right, this causes a few things to happen. So it increases your cravings, it decreases willpower, it increases fat storage, and it slows your ability to burn fat. So all things that we don't want. So here are some things that cause sugar cravings from a brain chemistry perspective. So keep in mind that serotonin, which is our happy brain chemical, right? It's what keeps us happy and balanced, along with GABA, and makes us feel all warm and fuzzy. When that gets out of balance is when we really start to crave things. You can actually crave if you have blood sugar issues, if you have low serotonin issues, low GABA issues. These are all brain chemicals except for the blood sugar. Low catecholamines, which are your doing neurotransmitters, and low endorphins, which are kind of your joy or reward neurotransmitters. So things that can mess with your brain chemistry then that cause cravings are poorly balanced meals, poorly spaced meals, nutrient-free food. So you're making really poor food choices, right? You're not eating whole, real foods, because then you're not getting enough vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, and carbs to support you. Not enough quality sleep. Not enough hormone balancing exercise, right? Gotta go burn off that cortisol, and when you exercise, you actually build serotonin. Too much stress in your life. I call all these hormone deal breakers. Not enough healthy proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. A lack of fun, joy, and love in your life, right? So maybe you're using food to replace those feelings. Poor digestion and microbial balance in your gut. We make most of our serotonin in our gut. So if we have low serotonin, we're going to crave more. Right, heal your gut, heal your digestive tract. That sounds easy, right? But you have to remove those offending foods, replace good beneficial bacteria, reduce inflammation, improve your diet, all those things. Number 10 is not enough nutrients to support you, right? You just don't have enough nutrients for your body to function properly. Number 11, your body burns sugar for fuel instead of fat. This is a really key point. So we've taught our bodies to burn sugar for fuel, so it's kind of instant fuel, instead of burning fat for fuel. And if we can teach our bodies how to burn fat for fuel, we'll have better sustained energy. We won't store fat. We'll burn fat for fuel. We'll just feel better, and we'll feel more balanced, and we won't have any cravings, right? So I'll show you a little bit how to do that. And then number 12, low fat or a no fat diet can really raise cravings, right? Because you're just not satiated. And remember, healthy fats are so important for hormone balance. And number 13, genetics, right? You've heard of the old sweet tooth. My family definitely has that. It's where some people may be less sensitive, so they seek out more sweet too. So there's kind of that component. I remember that my grandmother, oh my gosh, I loved cleaning her house because she had hard candy hidden everywhere in her house. And I noticed that she had dentures the whole time I knew her. So I don't know when it happened, but at some point she had all of her teeth removed and she had false teeth the whole time I was growing up. So I would imagine that in part it was related to her sweet tooth, right? So I mentioned, low blood sugar causes cravings, low serotonin, low catecholamines, low endorphins, and low GABA. And doing things like giving, right? Donating your time, giving things to people, yoga, meditation, spicy foods, right? Dark chocolate, laughing, eating properly, getting those good nutrients in, meditation, all those things can really help to improve your brain chemistry so that you don't have those crazy sugar cravings. So how do we begin to overcome our cravings and take charge? So that's sort of the real question, and then I'll get to your questions. So you want to train your body to become a fat burner instead of a sugar burner by changing the composition of your meals. Now it's hard because our brain is wired right now and our body to function on sugar. So you want it to be kind of a slower transition. And one of the ways you can do that is if you really, really are craving something, There are a couple of things you can do. You can actually imagine that you're eating it. So you can just sit quietly and close your eyes and imagine whatever it is that you're craving. And you can just sit there and pretend like you're eating it, right? And feel the flavors and the texture in your mouth and imagine, and then you can go for a walk. And then when you come back, see what you notice. It could be that your cravings completely go away, right? So that's, if you can, start to think about doing that sort of thing, it can help huge, right? You could also drink a huge glass of water. You can drink water with some fiber, right? It's like our Glucex, which is amazing for helping with cravings. You can use a powder called L-glutamine that you put on your tongue, right? That can help with cravings immediately. So if you're somebody who has really, really strong cravings, all of those things would be important to start doing. So the composition of your meals looks like eating a healthy protein, a healthy fat, and healthy carbohydrate every time you eat. When I talk about carbohydrates, I'm mostly talking about vegetables, right? So vegetables, a small amount of fruits, one piece of fruit at most every day. And then keeping your starches pretty low, depending, right, on your activity level. So starchy carbs, we have actually our Insulite approved food list that we use, and on there it gives amounts and everything, so it's super helpful as part of our 5-element system. The second way that you can really help cut down your cravings is understanding that where your calories come from matters. So I want to talk for a minute, fat has way more calories than sugar, but fat does not, healthy fats, okay, healthy fats, so olive oil, avocado, olives, nuts and seeds, ghee, clarified butter, pasture butter, right, butter from 100% grass-fed cattle, coconut oil, coconut flakes, all those healthy fats actually help to keep us satiated, and they don't make us fat. So as we add more healthy fats into our diet, our cravings will decrease, and now all of a sudden the weight will start to come off if you're having a hard time. If you've been on a plateau or you just keep gaining weight, it's because you're a really good sugar burner. Okay, you're really, and you keep feeding that. So where your calories come from matters. So food is information, it's not calories. So everything you eat creates a different physiological effect on your body. So think of it like a salad, right, with olive oil and some nice dressing versus the banana split, right? So you could easily, get that salad up to higher calorie levels based on the fats that you put on it. But it's definitely going to have a hugely different effect than a banana split on your body. You want to avoid prepackaged foods as much as possible. Look for whole, real foods, right? When we talk about whole, real foods, an example I can give is eating the whole egg, right? Not just the egg white. The yolk has powerful nutrients in it that actually help with so many things. Oh my gosh, super high in vitamins A, vitamins D, lecithin, which helps you to metabolize your fats. It's an incredible food that somehow we decided that we should take out. I don't understand that. And then you want to use stevia, small amounts of sweet, and lakanto, which is a great sugar substitute instead of sugar. But remember, sweet to your brain means that there are a certain amount of calories coming in. So sweet might make you crave sweet. So be really careful and be sure to just use a tiny bit. You want to make sure that you get plenty of sleep, plenty of restorative sleep, right? Where you're falling asleep easily, you're staying asleep, and you're, waking up energized, right? That's restorative sleep, and that can help tremendously with cravings because it's going to build beautiful brain chemistry. And then you want to practice mindfulness, slow down, take a deep breath, right? Enjoy this moment right here, right now, right? So when you're eating, just really enjoy your food. Make sure it's yummy and delicious and filled it with beautiful, tasty things. You want to eat a rainbow every day and diversify your diet. You just want to be present, right, with whoever you're with. So you want to, and meditation can help with that. Mindful eating, being in the present moment. Of course, exercise. So you want to get out there for some hormonally balanced exercise. So exercise that's not going to stress you out. You want to discover and fix those hormone deal breakers. I've talked about a lot of them today. So stress, any chronic anemias that you have, so not enough iron, not enough B12, chronic infections, thyroid issues, all that. You want to make sure that you're getting enough B6, and you can do that through food like spinach and turnip greens and garlic and cauliflower, mustard greens, celery. Oh my gosh, I juiced celery this morning. So I juiced celery, ginger, a big beautiful white beet, and and then I squeezed about 4 limes in there, and it was just amazing. So so celery is fantastic. Fish, especially tuna, halibut, salmon, cod, and snapper, all wild caught, right? And then chicken and turkey are great. Beef tenderloin, as long as it's 100% grass-fed. Those are all great sources of B6 that can really help with brain chemistry and cravings. You want to heal your digestion, right? Make sure you have really strong stomach acid. Make sure that you have a good, healthy microbiome, right? If you're someone who's taken antibiotics, right, you've really got some work to do. If you're taking antacids, you've got to stop that, and you've got to heal your digestion, okay? And make sure that you have enough joy, love, and connection in your life. It's really, really huge, and that'll help to lower cravings. So, of course, cravings is a huge, huge topic, and you know, we could talk about this for a long time. There are some great quizzes, and again, I just want to mention Dr. Julie Ross's new book. She has a great cravings quiz in there, and you just want to start identifying like what might be causing your cravings, and then change your life just a little bit so that you can avoid some of your triggers. You know, what are triggers for you? That would be really helpful to understand. So I'm going to get to some of your questions here. So Marlene asks, what is a good goal to stay in terms of number of grams of sugar a day or meal? I think that's a great question. I don't have a quick answer for that because I don't count anything. So I look at that more in terms of carbs, and it kind of depends what your goals are. So I don't have a quick answer for that, but again, you want to stick to whole real foods. You want to make sure that you don't have more than about 1 piece of fruit a day if you're suffering from a lot of symptoms, and just read labels, right? Read labels if you're buying packaged foods, and make sure that there's you know, very little or no sugar in those foods. And then you always want the fiber to be more than the sugar. So just take a look at those labels and make sure that the fiber is more than the sugar. And then Mimi asked if I would recommend the keto diet. Well, not necessarily. So keto diet, I have another video on the keto diet. Do I have another video on keto diet? I might, but we definitely have a lot of topics on our website about that. So you can go to PCOS.com and type in keto. So keto for women is a little bit tricky. You want to be very careful how you do it. It can cause more problems a lot of times for women, so it just depends, right? Some women with PCOS do great on a keto diet and some don't. So you just want to make sure that that you're taking really good care of yourself and that you're not doing it long term, right? So one of my colleagues, Dr. Anna Kabeka, likes keto for women, but keto alkaline for women, which means you eat a ton of vegetables, so that you make sure that you're not getting too acidic. And I think that's a real key. And then just do it. I think it's really important to do maybe 2 to 3 days a week. So you would do keto, let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then on the other days you would just eat normally. And really there's a simple way to do keto that way. And when you're in our community, I show you how to do that. So Rebecca says, my challenge is to avoid chocolate and sweets in between meals, 2 to 3 p.m. at work. Yeah, that is a tough time. Try to eat a handful of almonds, but it doesn't seem to be enough. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having a little bit of dark chocolate. You want it to be at least 70, 72% or higher. And, you know, and just stick to a couple of pieces, right? You might need to take a little break. You might need to go for a walk outside. That's naturally a tough time because we increase a chemical in our brain called adenosine, which builds up, and we naturally are tired in the afternoon. I mean, that's why so many European countries, Latin American countries, you know, had siesta, or they shut down from 2 to 5 in the afternoon, is because of that. So it's a natural thing. Just slow down, right? Take some deep breaths, maybe go for a walk, maybe have a piece of dark chocolate. You know, if it affects your sleep, you got to be careful with that. Maria Rita, hi, how are you? So let's see. When I eat refined sugar, do I get crazy hormones, more acne, oily skin? Yeah, for sure. Okay, not keto diet on me. Okay, don't see a question there, but I will reread and just make sure that I get it answered completely. What about raw honey? So Sandra, raw honey is sugar, right? So you have to be really careful with that. See what you notice with it. Certainly if you're having a lot of symptoms of hormone imbalance, I'd be really careful with raw honey. Yeah, I just wouldn't eat much of it. If you have a very specific condition where raw local honey really supports that, or manuka honey, then you can see how it does for you. But generally speaking, honey, sugar. Let's see. So Marlene says, after doing elimination, I identified gluten and dairy and have kept them out of my diet. Sugar has always been low for many years, but recently I've been trying to keep it under 30 a day. 30 per, I don't know what that is. 30 a day. 30 what? 30 grams a day? So carbohydrates, you know, if you're trying to release weight and do more of a keto diet, 20 grams per meal. But you have to be careful by doing that too long term because it can make you depressed, which will make you crave more. So that's why I can't really give you an exact amount because I have to know what's going on for you. 30 grams a day. Yeah, 30 grams a day is really, really low. So if you don't expect much from yourself, you know, you're sitting around on the couch and you're not doing much, you could do 30 grams a day. But 30 grams a day, generally speaking, is way, way too low. So you could try that maybe 2 to 3 days a week. And then the other days, you know, increase that a little bit. All right, well, it's been so great to be here with you today. You can continue posting comments. Our team and myself will continue to monitor and answer to make sure that you get your questions answered. And as always, I love being here with you, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. All right, bye, everyone.